So I would say the most dangerous city I've heard is Cali. Medellin is dangerous. Bogota is equally as dangerous. Um, but I would say I'm kind of good on Colombia right now, man. I'd like to go to a place where I don't have to worry about danger that much. Maybe Uruguay, maybe Paraguay, maybe Argentina, maybe the south of Brazil. I don't want to be on a heightened level of alert like that. But I'll be honest with you guys. Here's the sad reality. You guys ain't gonna like this. It's becoming dangerous all across South America, man. These druggings, these robberies are becoming normal in Ecuador. I've seen places in Argentina. They're becoming so. You guys might want to just put this as a staple and have that security. Hey, if you meet an Uber guy and he's a nice guy, you vetted him, just pay him $4 or $5 an hour to be with you at all times if you go outside, and especially if you're inside and you have a chick. Hey, man, have him sit on a couch, play TikTok while you do your business. Boom, boom, boom. Meet your date, and then have him take the date too. That way, because you're paying an Uber anyway, so you might as well just use them in a double deal kind of thing.
Yeah, I know they said Cali is the most dangerous in Colombia, but honestly, I felt more on edge in Medellin than I did in Cali. It seemed like there was just less shady stuff going on in the tourist zone. Like in the tourist zone of Medellin, like it doesn't even feel like you have to watch yourself in El Poblado, and that's supposed to be the tourist zone. You had to watch, and Cartagena is like that too. It's like, god damn, it's like I got to a point. I'm like, yo, I was just in Uruguay where you could. It was pretty much crime free. Like it was no crime, and then I come to this, and it's like, no, like this
Yeah,
is
my
this.
brother. But here's the thing. Here's the draw. Here's the draw. The draw is you get really really good weather, really really good women at a really really good price, and there's nothing else like it. DR no, PR no, Mexico, Cancun no, Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina. There's nothing that matches it. So people say, hey man, why are guys still going? Why are guys still going and they're getting robbed, they're getting drugged? Because you have really really attractive females at a really really low cost, and you've got excellent weather, and there's nothing else that even comes close to it. At this point, I've been to Cancun, I've heard about Costa Rica, but there's nothing else that compares right now to that kind of value. You have a really good value. You got really beautiful women, a lot of them, and then you got everything at a low cost, and nothing else competes with it right now. That's the answer for you guys. That's why people keep going back and getting, drugged and killed and all this other stuff, because there's nothing else on the planet, man.
So living, you're considering living abroad again because you said that earlier, but some of the countries you mentioned, like Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina, the south of Brazil, those always get. I mean, often get cold. They have a real winter time. Like here in Manaus is winter time, and it's still so hot and humid you can't even put on lotion or body oil. But it's just not. It'll be hot as fuck when it's summertime. But in the south of Brazil, it actually snows just like it would in New York, and freezes and all that kind of stuff. So, what factors? Because that would turn me off from at least living somewhere full time. I'd have to live in the south of Brazil only during the warm months. What factors do you take into account before you want to pick your next place that you're going to move to?
Yeah. First of all, I would never live in a place 100% again. I would do a trifecta. I'd have at least 3 or 4 places to not get tired. I'm unwilling to tolerate any kind of snow or cold weather. It's not on the table for me. So I'd probably rotate. And so yeah, it'd have to be warm, and I won't stay in one country. I'd probably do 3 or 4. I love Brazil, but I'm doing some reconnaissance work, and I'm seeing that the females in south of Brazil are really, really cold. I'm not getting the responses like I'm liking, and they seem really, really cold, probably because they got a lot of money. Um, and Paraguay and Uruguay and Argentina seem to be having a better response, but the southern of Brazil, those chicks seem to be really, really cold, but they're very, very attractive. They're super attractive. I have to get down there, but it might dethrone Medellin. I'm seeing an unusually high rate of attractive females down there. I don't know what it is.
I think a lot of people say that about the south of Brazil that they're flakier. The further south you go, the flakier they get, and they get a lot colder. They're not rude, but they're just not like the ones that you would meet in Salvador that are just super, super, super nice. Or the ones here that's like that. And I think that's because in the South that they're more European. They have that, like, they're actually white down there. They're true white girls. I guess I got a sample of that when I went to Sao Paulo, because Sao Paulo was completely different culturally than the rest of Brazil at the time, from what I had experienced. Because here in Manaus, I'm having a similar experience to how it was in Rio and Salvador. But yeah, Sao Paulo was just completely different. That was a different, but I liked it. Didn't hate it. Didn't love it either, though. It was all
Now,
right.
now I do want to say, Brazil is my number one. Brazil is my favorite country. The diversity is insane. Even in the southern Brazil, I was seeing a crazy amount of diversity. But I don't know if I could deal with the Portuguese, with the translating and having to go with what you guys have to go through with Spanish and stuff, like translating stuff. I don't want to. I don't think I want to dedicate my time to that. So I don't know if Brazil will be in the rotation, because I hate that Portuguese. It's not like Spanish. It sounds a little bit similar at the beginning, and then once these people take off, you can't understand anything. Um, and it's just very tough, very difficult language, man. I don't know if I want to put up with that translating thing, to be honest. Oh, I got a backup, and a lot of guys don't know this. There's actually, I think there's actually 8 or 900,000 Brazilians in Buenos Aires. They all have to speak Spanish. They're forced to speak Spanish. Just like, you don't want to do Spanish, then get out. And a lot of these females are away from home. They're there for school. They're lonely, and so I'll have a buddy of mine who's right now in Buenos Aires, and he says, "Hey, man, if you don't want to deal with an Argentinian ever again, you can do nothing but date Brazilians, and there's plenty of them." So
That
that
was
might be
my
a solution for you guys. Yeah.
That was my experience whenever I was in Argentina. Yeah, the Argentine girls were so flaky, and they weren't necessarily cold, but they were just flaky as hell. I think that's the most flakiest culture I've been to in the world that wasn't the United States. And yeah, they were flaky, but the Brazilian chicks showed up just like they would in Brazil. So that was completely different too. And what's funny is those chicks that were in Argentina that I dated that were Brazilian were from Sao Paulo. But when I got to Sao Paulo, they behaved nothing like the ones that I dated from Sao Paulo in Buenos Aires. Like, the ones in Buenos Aires weren't flaky; they were very nice. And in the city of Sao Paulo, they were super flaky. They were still nice, but they were super flaky. Played a lot of games too, so it was
And
that was an odd experience.
this is what I want to share with you guys. I want to give you guys a little secret. If you want to date Brazilians and maybe Spanish and you don't like Portuguese, just go to Buenos Aires. People don't notice they got 16, 17 million people in that city. It's in the top 10 cities in biggest cities in the world. And the Brazilian chicks there are going to act totally different than the Brazilian chicks in Brazil, because they're lonely, they're broke, they're there for school, they have nothing else to do. Um, and this is just keeping it real. Argentinians hate them. They don't want them there. They're racist towards them, and stuff like that. So, hey, man, if you want to date nothing but Brazilians, just go to Buenos Aires. Don't even look at Brazil. And you can date nothing but Brazilians there. You don't even have to touch a single Argentinian there.
Well, yeah, I noticed there's a lot of Brazilians all over South America. I've seen them in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. I've seen them in Uruguay. Not too many though. I've seen them in Uruguay. I've seen them in Chile, Santiago, Chile. So yeah, but I still think, yeah, if you go to Brazil, I mean, if you know Spanish, switching over to Portuguese wouldn't be as hard as you think, because I was able to pick up Spanish without ever practicing it, just from knowing Portuguese and just slowly adjusting or integrating, immersing myself into the language, I guess you could say. So, do you think
Yeah,
that there's any?
go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
bro. Go ahead,
Go
bro.
ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
I was about to say, do you think that there's anything that could be done to improve the safety for expats and locals in Medellin? It doesn't sound like it, but do you think so?
I think you have to take personal responsibility, personal accountability. So it starts by, I love my Medellin people, but I would recommend probably not go there right now. Let the situation change if it ever changes. I would say that's number one. Number two is, if you're gonna go there, have a trusted source, have a tail with you at all times. It'll be safer, and it costs literally pennies on the dollar, 4, 5, 6 bucks an hour. You can get somebody. It's well worth it. It's well worth your life. And then yeah, I would say that stay away from it. And then if you need to go, just get somebody. You can reach out to me. I'll give you my contact. This guy owns real estate. I've slept at his house, been at his house. I talk to him every day, even now. So he'll take good care of you. I don't get nothing from it. I don't want to get nothing from it. I make plenty of money, with what I'm doing. And so, yeah, I don't think the situation is going to change. I don't think it's going to improve because if you look at it from a business perspective, they don't care about tourism. Their number one thing is not tourism. They do coffee and they do gas and oil, and so they don't care about tourism. And one, number two is they can't even handle their own crime. Why would they handle crime from people who they perceive as coming here to do no good? I was there 5 years. I told you the person across from me was a plastic surgeon. The person below me was a dentist. The person on top of him was a judge. None of these people ever wanted to mingle with me, and they never even saw me with females coming in and out, all this other stuff. I typically run my dates at night, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, so nobody would see what I'm doing, and I wouldn't even they wouldn't even see me, wouldn't even know it was me because my driver, pulled into my garage space, rang them up, and entered the apartment. I would never even be outside in the hallways or downstairs in the units or nothing. And they still didn't speak to me because they have a perceived value like, hey, he's here for one thing and one thing only. And it's a shame, but it is the way it is.